So Gavin Newsom decided that he was going to sue the Trump administration because of these tariffs on behalf of the 40 million Californians. I'm one of the Californians that would tell you, I don't need you to do any of that for me. I don't have an issue with the tariffs. I feel like the tariffs are a good negotiation block to force American businesses to come home, force American businesses to allow Americans to be able to work. Also, it allows opportunity for young people who do not want to go to college, because what are we going to do with those people, Gavin Newsom? If you can answer that, you might be able to run for president. In addition to that, your governance here in California has been atrocious. Atrocious. You are the reason that we had high crime, the reason that our homelessness population has completely erupted. Also, you're the reason that businesses are fleeing from California because of your poor governance. And you think I want you to sue on my behalf? No, I should be suing you. I should be suing you. Also, I should be dropping off the homeless people that you decide to neglect and ignore in your house. I just need you to take several seats. Also, by the way, if you think you're going to get moderates like me to vote for you, we're not. Because I live in the state that you govern, and I know how trash ass you are as a politician. So I'm going to continue to keep your name in my mouth so that people can hear me say, you're not going to win in 2028.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is being criticized by members of her own party for seeing you-know-who in the White House.
She was in the Oval Office, same place I was a few weeks before.
Yes, Michigan governor is trending on social media for about 5 days. I don't know if you've seen that. Maher blow up on her like never before. She was unable to respond to these questions. When you take a look at this, Michigan governor attempted to hide from the camera as she visited with President Trump in the Oval Office few days ago. Whitmer faced massive backlash for agreeing with Trump on bringing back automotive manufacturing to the U.S. A Democrat are melting down on social media about this. This happened a few weeks ago. I don't know if it's last week. I saw that. I didn't want to report on what actually happened.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is being criticized by members of her own party for seeing you-know-who in the White House yesterday to talk about issues affecting her state. The visit sure seemed to change the way you-know-who feels about her, though. He used to talk mad stuff about her.
It's like, it's like, that's the one. I tend to agree. I was watching it live. He was signing an EO that's very specific to waterways in Michigan and a certain endangered species that was like impacting the community. It was a very specific Michigander thing. And to your point, he won Michigan, she won Michigan. They're going to have to find where they can work together. Really quickly, I want to mention the Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs EOs. Chris Krebs is a personal friend of mine. I would strongly encourage someone around the president to talk him into.
You're talking about the
this back.
executive orders.
Yes,
coming after
Krebs is being penalized because he said that the 2020 election was safe and fair while overseeing our cybersecurity infrastructure. He worked for Donald Trump. He put in reforms that allowed Donald Trump to safely be reelected in 2024 when he won. And this, to me, is just not what people elected him to do. He is a good public servant. He's not somebody who goes out of his way to antagonize Donald Trump, and I just think it's incredible.
And by the way, everyone, dissent is not unlawful. Dissent
well, I just don't understand.
Unlawful. It's American.
You know, I don't understand when the First Amendment disappeared. And this is also on us. Every time we don't say, hey, you can't do that, they do more. You've got to speak up. You've got to make your voices heard. We've got to do this. It's up to us.
Yes, there is one part that drew my attention where she struggled to hide her face after noticing that there were cameras everywhere. It is insane to do this. You are going in there to sign an executive order. I understand you disagree with Trump on many issues. He is your president and you're working under him. At a certain point, when I see people struggling to do this every time, I clearly see the hatred in them. The view here standing up to say, oh, she was not supposed to, she was supposed to do crazy. The governor of California, we saw that he had a trip with Trump when Trump went to visit this area affected by that fire. There are conversations. They disagree in everything. There are times you need to allow these people to do what they are supposed to do, forgetting their political differences. It was shameful to see her do this. Like, seriously, I struggle to figure out why she hid her face. For what reason? People knew that she was in the White House. Then she was scared of backlash or what exactly? I don't get.
You know, I got to tell you, I know that she's getting a lot of flack from it, but as the governor of the great state of Michigan, she has an absolute obligation, I think, to show up there, do business for the people of her state. Her spokesperson said that while she was at the White House to meet with President Trump about Michigan matters, she was surprised to have been pulled into the Oval Office for the executive order signing, and that her presence is not an endorsement of the actions taken. And I think she just got used and played. She clearly looked uncomfortable. Yeah. You know, he tricked her. And he's a trickster. He's a fraudster.
And you're right. She looked very unhappy. I mean, I haven't seen anybody that unhappy in the Oval Office since Marco Rubio was sinking into that sofa during the Zelensky meeting. But I think it was a very bad time for her to be there while these executive orders were being signed, waging an all-out attack again on freedom of expression. These are executive orders weaponizing the Department of Justice to go after former employees of Trump's first term that spoke up against him. And I kept saying during the campaign that it was very ironic to me that that Trump and Republicans were always saying that Democrats were communists and socialists. Look, I fled Nicaragua. This is exactly what Daniel Ortega is doing in Nicaragua right now, where if anybody criticizes him, if anybody speaks up against him, he considers it treason to the country, and he is disappearing them and putting them in jail. We have got to stand up like Americans against these attacks against freedom of speech. Freedom of speech defines us as a country. We cannot allow this to happen. What's happening against the censorship against the press, like the AP being banned from the Oval Office, censorship against protests and people being able to protest. And now these attacks, this is just something we cannot put up with, America.
Yeah. Talking about Governor Whitmer and the judgment from a lot of Democrats as to what it was a bad look to be working with Donald Trump and be in the Oval Office while these executive orders are being signed. The conversation around this is why I despise partisan politics. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She literally represents Michigan. She got voted in, and so did Donald Trump. Yeah. He's the president of the United States. We're going through all of this. She has to work with him and deal with the manufacturing, the stuff that affects it. A picture is 1 second. We've all been stuck in places where you can't get out. I can see that on her face. I don't blame her at all. But a Democratic operative said...
She's so uncomfortable.
Well, and a Democratic operative said it best. There's a sort of absolutism among Democrats.
She was in the Oval Office, same place I was a few weeks before. And this is what she did. Okay, I think there's a couple of ways to handle the Oval Office, and this is not the way I chose. You don't want to talk to people? You have no power. I mean, people seem to gloss over the fact that I went in there. I didn't surrender to him. I said this. Of course, people don't care. They don't watch what I actually did. They just react to clickbait. But I went in there and I said to his face, "You're scaring people."
Yes, there was no trick here. I didn't see how Trump tricked her in. She knew that going inside there are cameras, things like this will happen. So I don't understand what Sunny Hostin is talking here. Looking at what Sarah is saying, she makes a lot of sense. She hates partisan issues like this. It is really true that people don't understand this at all. Trump is your president, no matter what. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. At this time, forget about these political names. A president is for everyone in the country. She's a governor. You must submit. So people criticizing her for going to the White House is something I would understand. According to Democrats, Trump should only be the president for Republicans. That is what this one thing. It is insane to even have this kind of mentality. And crazy. Democrats are fond of this every single time.
I didn't surrender to him. I said this, of course, people don't care. They don't watch what I actually did. They just react to clickbait. But I went in there and I said to his face, "You're scaring people. Why do you want to scare your own citizens?" I said to his face, "You ran in 3 elections. You lost the middle one." I said to his face, "Birtherism was low." Okay. I'm glad that I was able to go and do that, got a seat at the table. Because again, what else do you have? You have no power. So this idea that, and he's going to be there for another 4 years. That's a long time to hold your breath.
Well, and
it's a long time to hold the thing up in front of your face, let me tell you.
I think that is why Governor Whitmer went to the White House. She went there to take care of the business of the people of Michigan.
You have to.
And that's what she did. And so then what happens is she gets basically ambushed by the President of the United States, who pulls her into a press conference that she's not.
Yes, what annoys me with what they're saying here is the fact that they continue to like the president ambush her. I didn't see that. It didn't happen. So people continue to push this narrative. They are insane. Thank you guys for sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. And please, if you see any clips after this, that is just for YouTube algorithm.
Rollerblade into work every morning. I get my short shorts on and
Ridiculous. A certain amount of cult followers for anything, and then the
Registration Act is.
Thank you guys for sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly. Please share the video. If you see any clip after this, know that it is for the YouTube algorithm.
Generally called insider trading, and that would ordinarily.
I know better than anybody. Forget about the economists who know better. Forget about people who know history. I alone can fix it.
Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And remember, the resistance is real. You're not alone.
Has anyone else noticed how women on the left are the most miserable group of people? So
Harris is not president. Trump is. And if you don't like him, folks.
started on.
Wish the common
and a lot of people who didn't vote.
And finally, new rule to those on the right.
Isn't exactly getting the hero's welcome.
That the Americans finally realized what the reality was.
This is a Fox News alert, a crushing blow for Democrats who had hoped against hope.
Brad Schimmel, that has included Elon Musk pouring tens of millions of dollars.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that.
Do you think the Republican takeaways tonight are going to.
The margin right now, Randy Fine.
Everybody,